This is a top-grade Peiyuan Dan. Rating, 9 points. Without letting Chu Feng wait for long, Linger's mechanical voice rang out, reporting the results of this time. It's not bad. How long until the test at the back takes place? Chu Feng inquired in a low voice as he put some of the spirit medicines on the tabletop into his storage bag. According to the regulations, it is usually decided to start the refining process after 3 days, but there is also a subjective decision. The spirit returned mechanically. Still, it's extremely calm out there right now, so there's no advance happening. Okay, thanks, Chu Feng thanked. Without any worries, Chu Feng immediately stopped. At this time period, his mental exertion was a bit large, and he just needed time to recover. Fellow Daoist Mo, what do you think about this? Proceed directly to the next hand? An inexplicable look flickered in Shidanzi's eyes as he quietly spoke to Mo Dandong. Agreed. Wouldn't it be better to have one less person in this thing? There's even less competition that way too. Originally, Mo Dandong, who was a bit unsure of himself, saw Red Danzi seeking to join forces at this time, and immediately agreed. In that case, let's ask the artifact spirit here. After all, we still need her consent if we want to start the next level. The corners of Shidanzi's mouth were smiling, looking extremely joyful. For Chu Feng, a rookie who seemed to know nothing, there was a trace of fear in his heart. The man is too talented for his own good. The high is surprisingly the first time you try a new species and are immediately able to refine it. It would be best for such a master to get the other guy out of the game by stealing him. As for moral righteousness, face and whatnot, these things were not worth mentioning to these casual cultivators of theirs. After obtaining Mo Dandong's consent, Shidanzi looked straight at him and said, "You do the latter." Mo Dandong was not stupid, and immediately knew that this person should be afraid that he himself had been tricked, but this matter was beneficial and harmless to him, so he directly called up the artifact spirit. "Old Sister Linger, hurry up and come out. May I ask what this trialist has to do?" The words fell, and the artifact spirit immediately had a reply. "This next level is something that can be started early, right? After all the people have completed the 4th level, and it's boring to keep waiting." Merdenton spoke directly. The reason was a bit far-fetched, but Merdenton didn't care. As long as it accomplishes its purpose, this matter is possible. As long as we can obtain the consent of more than half of the trialists, then we can proceed to the next test. Linger's mechanical voice paused for a moment before replying. "That hypocrite across the street, do you agree? This thing is ready to start straight away." Although Mo Dandong he is extremely arrogant, but he is not stupid. For the guy who uses himself as a gun, he is not polite at all. "I agree." Shidanzi immediately agreed to come down. This thing was originally his will, just to prevent being pitched, so he opened it with the help of the other party's hand. Had. Of course I agree with something so fun, just to see how the other guy reacts. Such is too much fun. Mo Dandong lowered his head, the corners of his mouth cracked open, and he exuded an extremely evil voice and said, "Lord Trialist, the next level starts the test early, and 2 trialists have agreed to proceed. Is it your yes or no?" On the other side, the artifact spirit Linger also sent a message to Chu Feng in synchronization. Hearing those words, Chu Feng's brows immediately furrowed, and this matter was completely decided. Whether he agrees or disagrees, there's no changing it. Never mind. To begin with, is there any compensation up here for me, people? List information about the next level or something about the next level to be tested? Chu Feng's brows furrowed as he directly opened his mouth to probe. "No, Lord God Amazing has clearly ordered that this is the way it is. For any and all," the instrumental spirit replied. "Okay." Although he knew the result, Chu Feng was still extremely dissatisfied. "If I participate directly down in this state, this is having an effect on the Divine Amazing Palace Master's test. So what should I do if something goes wrong and a good inheritor isn't chosen?" Chu Feng, from the side, wanted to obtain some benefits, preferably information that would help him in the next level. These are the tests above the tests. And before we started, the Divine Amazing Palace Master had already said that geniuses of all realms are all required to undergo countless trials and tribulations before they can succeed. In addition, this is a test in itself. You should know that an alchemist is an existence that attracts the attention of countless people in itself. If you can't even solve such a simple ordeal, then it's useless even if he's more talented and can obtain a better inheritance. Without mercy, the artifact spirit directly rejected Chu Feng's request. It seemed to her that this was just an ordinary level. If he couldn't even pass such a simple ordeal, the Palace Master's alchemy inheritance wouldn't be able to be given to the other party. "Okay, let's get started then." Seeing that there was no way to obtain the inheritance, Chu Feng no longer continued to dwell on it. It was immediately agreed to start on the next level. The big thing about this is that he just endures a little pain while he's down there. As for anything about waiting in the next level to rest up and start refining again, that was impossible. After all, this is the last hurdle and the deciding one. As long as one passed, then obtaining the divine alchemy left by the other party was also the greatest possibility. In the next moment, the platform for the three of them violently contracted back, and even the spirit medicines that were still present on the tabletop all disappeared. The number of reappearing elixirs was even larger and more varied. After Chu Feng took a cursory glance, the spirit medicines that existed here were at least 10 times as many as before, and the categories seemed to be even more varied than they were a moment ago. This scene looked at Chu Feng as purpose mouth. If the kind of refining a new variety of elixir that had just occurred and had to be tested one at a time like this, he felt like he backed to collapse. The content of this trial is also extremely simple, and there is a connection to the inheritance in the back. Linger did not make Chu Feng and the others wait much longer and immediately began to introduce them. This trial on the other hand is to refine the 4th grade explosive amazing Dan that you guys have previously refined. As long as you refine it, then you can all obtain a portion of the inheritance. Of course, the existence that refines the best and has the highest quality, the more inheritance it receives. Spirit quickly spelled out this information. After saying that, he disappeared into the middle of the original spot. Little brother, it seems like we really need to take our time with this. This trial is even harder than the last one. I wonder what little brother has planned. After hearing the introduction, he was the one who panicked the most. First of all, he's eaten his way up the ladder of what came before. With a previous foundation, he was able to come here, but this latter level can be exceedingly difficult. An existence like the explosive amazing Dan, even with the previous demonstration, it was extremely difficult for them to refine it, because there were so many things involved in it, and the berserk attribute in it was even more terrifying that it sent chills down his spine. Without a certain amount of control and strength, the furnace would absolutely explode during the refining process. However, these were not the most difficult. After all, he was a 7th grade alchemist anyways. There is no worry about refining these. This pill was no more difficult to refine, but it was only a 4th grade. It wasn't much more difficult for him. Instead, it's the selection, which is the toughest. It was also the reason why he was looking for Chu Feng. Among the people he observed refining pills on both sides, only Chu Feng had the most solid foundation. The refining process is also one step at a time, completely different from the other being, who was straight up messy and refining. In his opinion, it was completely the rhythm of destroying the Dan, if it wasn't for luck, and he doesn't have that kind of luck. So, oh, what is it? Chu Feng directly pretended to be crazy and completely ignored the other party. Granted, he had just opened the barrier up and hadn't noticed the situation on either side, so there is no understanding of who shaded him. But from Mo Dondon's unruly appearance, Chu Feng knew that there were still ideas for such a thing, and that the other party would definitely not do it. The rest is pretty clear. Little brother. What happened up there was my fault. The old man is here to apologize to you. I hope you'll be generous and not take it personally. Chidanzi also knew that this kid was playing dumb, but what could he do if he was begging for it? Who told him to be a just now? Although it is likely that this will also be fruitless. The existence here has already said that as long as it is refined, the side is not enough to obtain the inheritance. He doesn't ask for more, he just gets it. One must know that an existence like a divine alchemist, in his hands is to leak some seams down. It is also enough for him to eat and drink. I've accepted your apology. Well, it's time for me to start refining pills. Chu Feng also stopped talking and directly drove people away. Just now, the other party disgusted him, and now with the barrier in place, there was no way to get the other party. So Chu Feng was too lazy to verbally waste his breath with the other party again. But go out well. That's just meh. Linger, isolate the two sides. Don't let the other side see my side. Chu Feng turned his head and immediately commanded. This old boy disgusted him, and wanted him to teach him the Dan formula, merely apologizing and doing nothing to try to get him to forgive the other person. How can this world be so good? You, watching Chu Feng leave, and this practice, Red Danzi's heart instantly glowed with blockage. I can't imagine that I've lowered my voice and tried to draw on the strength of the other side. But, end of chapter. Chapter 124 Failure. Chapter 124 Failure. Forget it, that kid is so insensitive. So I won't bother with them. At that moment, after seeing that he had not obtained what he wanted on Chu Feng's side, Red Danzi also turned around and no longer paid attention. Right, master, our strength isn't bad. When that kid fails then and comes begging for us, humph. Linger could be said to be extremely confident in her master's skills as well as his strength. Aha, well, let's get started. First of all, let's separate the elixirs. Chitanko put aside his sorrows and showed his disciple the good side of the world. If he, the master, had lost his disappointment, then there would be no need to try this time. Yes, Master. Zlinger extremely obediently ran to the side and began to separate the spirit medicines up. There are also more spirit medicines this time, and it seems that there is more need to recognize them as well. It's really troublesome. Looking at the elixir in front of him, Mo Dandong's face was extremely ugly. Self-knowledge. So many elixirs are 10 times as many as the previous ones. It seems that the difficulty can be not normal. In this way, trying to rely on luck. But I've never had bad luck, so I'll definitely be able to do it this time. Mo Dandong thought of the divine alchemy this time, and his own confidence, and no longer continue to sigh, directly began to do it up. If you really can't, just connect your hands. The few people here don't seem to be very good at alchemy. All this time, he had also observed the alchemy results of both sides and probably knew everyone's strength. In a situation like this, it's not a bad idea to join forces if you can't. After pondering for a while, Mo Dandong also began to separate the elixir. These things are things that every alchemist needs to do. Otherwise the messy elixir was so messy that they couldn't even do it if they wanted to refine it. Not to mention dispensing. There are more and more herbs this time, so it looks like I have enough time to slowly study them again. Chu Feng looked at these spirit medicines. There was also the memory of the moment when he started refining the pills. A little smile came to his face. These people seemed to be aiming to suppress him, but it was unexpected that this trial was so difficult that every single one of them was not sure of passing. Most importantly, the elixir was still so cluttered. Need them to start refining again. It was a process he didn't like much, but it had to be said that he still had an advantage in it. The 4th level of refining the Peiyuan Dan. Chu Feng guessed that it was screening for the 5th level, and only those who had passed the 4th level would be able to have the opportunity to pass the 5th level. In this way, the screened-out alchemists all had a certain level of development ability. I just don't know what the owner of the Divine Amazing Palace wants to find such a person for. Chu Feng's mind thought of an extremely frightening possibility, and a bold idea. Forget it, it's better not to think too much. Hurry up and start the next level of the test. It's useless to think more. Chu Feng's mind scattered, and for a moment, his eyes instantly brightened as he thought of that possibility. But at the same time, the saliva couldn't help but slowly change. If it was really as he had guessed, this inheritance was just extremely terrifying. As long as he mastered it, even if his current strength wasn't strong, he would still be able to threaten the mortalization realm. The elixirs are separated. What's starting now is to try and sense them. Chu Feng placed the last scattered spirit medicine in his hand in a separate category, and his hand could not help but slowly pick up the spirit medicine from the first one, and with a slight movement of his spirit power, he directly cut a small opening in the spirit medicine. In an instant, a special kind of fluctuation that ordinary people couldn't sense immediately appeared. Chu Feng's spiritual energy also wrapped up extremely quickly, sensing the medicinal properties within. The people on the other two sides, at this time, also separated the elixirs and used their own special techniques to search for the elixir they needed. First of all, it was Red Danzi's side. His hands kept appearing with a strain of spiritual medicine, and under a flick of the spiritual power in his hands, the spiritual medicine directly burst open, and the rich medicinal fragrance immediately emanated out, and he began to observe the medicinal properties as well as recording the experimental data. The test was completed in no time, but this method was fast. It was that it consumed an extremely large amount of elixir. One flick and the elixir was immediately annihilated. If there weren't enough elixirs, this wouldn't be enough to consume at all. On the other side, Mo Dandong, at this moment, looked at the things in his hands with an extremely intense expression, and then quickly searched for the elixir that belonged to him. However, the predicament he seems to be in now. This was because among the spirit medicines that he had categorized out, there were still an extremely large number of spirit medicines that were both placed together. It looks like you shouldn't be able to tell the medicinal properties of it, or maybe it's too close, and as a direct result the method of sensing isn't very sensitive anymore. Headache. I wish I could go out and fight. It's all better than using my head power here all the time. Chu Feng finished probing 1/3 of the spirit medicines, and then directly threw the spirit medicines out. A tired face collapsed to the floor. An extremely heavy and depressed look appeared on his face. This is the only way this thing can be used, and there really isn't anything that can be done to change it. Although this method was extremely fast and highly accurate, it had to be said that the amount of divine thoughts consumed in such an attempt could be extremely high. Even Chu Feng's 10-mile range of divine thoughts was not able to fully support it. This is really... A look of intense sighing appeared within Chu Feng's inner heart. Everyone here has a unique approach, except him due to the fact that he doesn't know anything. It's just a little white guy that barges right in and causes nothing, making it so that he was only able to change it by watering it down. Forget it, just take a break. After feeling that his divine thoughts were all consumed to the extreme, Chu Feng was also too lazy to continue sparring and directly wrested up the inheritance of this place. Linger also said that there was no need to consider the time or whether or not there was any gain. As long as one was able to refine pills, then they would be able to obtain the inheritance. This promise seemed extremely suitable for Chu Feng, because it meant that he didn't have to go up so dryly to try to be able to refine the elixir. At the same time, he quickly grabbed the elixir and refined it first. Just